Tim, thank you for joining me. You're one of 4 panelists here at the NAPB meeting in St. Louis. Cquesta, what made you take the leap and become not only Chief Executive Officer, but the first employee of Cquesta?
Oh, first of all, thanks for inviting me for this interview. And I'm very excited to join Cquesta and be telling the world about it. So what brought me to Cquesta is the opportunity. And I would say 2 kinds of opportunities. One is to help the world to be on more sustainable path, especially in agriculture. And second opportunity was to work with the world's most renowned scientists that are based at Salk Institute for Biological Studies, San Diego-based institution that is world-renowned for the quality of its science. That's where Cquesta technology originated, and they invited me to join them to try to commercialize it and make the world better.
If you can tell us about Cquesta's innovation, how is it, or how does it stand to make the world better?
Yes, Cquesta was envisioned about 10 years ago, and at that time, Salk directors, which like Nobel laureate type scientists, challenged the faculty to come up with big ideas how to make the world better. And that was kind of large scope cast. And some ideas were in pharma and some ideas were in plant science and agriculture. So renowned plant scientists came up with the idea that why we cannot capture carbon from the atmosphere and put it into the soil using the power of plant genetics. Because plants have been doing it for hundreds of millions of years, capturing carbon from the air, sending it to the soil. And now we're at the time where we can leverage all the knowledge that was acquired in the basic plant science to make it happen and make it a reality.
And so Cquesta's innovation, can you tell us about it exactly, what it looks like, how it works?
So yes, Cquesta's traits composed of 2 parts. First, we're going to be making plants, and I'm talking about agricultural plants, all kind of plants, row crops and even smaller crops. We're going to make the root systems bigger and send the carbon deeper into the soil. So the soil science says that the average age of organic carbon depends very, very strongly on the depth at which that carbon stays. And if for example, you're able to deliver the carbon to 1 meter depth, then the average age of organic carbon there exceeds 1,000 years very easily. And that's what we're about, to make roots bigger and deeper, and also store carbon in a recalcitrant form that does not go back into the atmosphere very easily.
And so this particular innovation, how does it shake up traditional farming methods?
Yes, I think we are pioneering this type of traits. That occurred to me after I've worked with both Monsanto for 18 years and Cquesta for 6 years, where I was a chief technology officer until it was co-acquired by Bayer, Bunge, and Chevron. So in both places, I worked on both agronomic traits and quality traits. And once I joined Cquesta, I was asking myself, what type of trait is this? Is this truly agronomic trait where farmer benefits? Or is this a quality trait where downstream value chain benefits? It occurred to me it's a totally new type of trait where the society benefits. So the farmer is going to grow the same crops. All the magic, carbon sequestration is going to happen in the soil. So farmer is going to be receiving additional revenue from the carbon credit that's generated by our trait and technology. That value will be shared with farmer, with the seed companies, and with everybody in the value chain, including Cquesta.
So with an innovative trait like this, what's the biggest risk you take in starting up Cquesta, and how do you mitigate that?
Yes, obviously, one of the risks is technology. This is a very new technology, novel type of technology. But again, we have handled challenging traits while developing, for example, Cquesta, which included both genetics part and creation of the value chain. So I'm seeing that we're facing these types of challenges as well, that in addition to using power of genetics and make our system work, we need to create the entire value chain and make sure that everybody is comfortable with the trade deployment, its performance, and functionality, and also convince the world that it makes the world better.
Now, talking about sustainability, before I let you go, what is the biggest thing that prevents our industry from really achieving its potential in sustainability, and how does a company like Cquesta help to change that?
It's a great question, Mark, and I've been thinking about it for a number of years now since I was at Cquesta, where I would usually talk about cover crops, because at Cquesta we produce the world's first productive cover crop. And my message was always that cover crops is such a wonderful idea that a lot of organizations, nonprofits, the government have been trying to promote for several decades. And the adoption of cover crops is still very slow. And it was very clear to me when I started working at Cquesta that the problem is that economic incentives are misplaced. Really, by growing cover crops, farmer saves the soil, the entire ecosystem benefits, the soil erosion, nitrogen leaching, many problems are mitigated by growing cover crops. Yet farmer typically, that if he grows cover crops, is in the red. So in a way, he has to subsidize the good that he makes for society. And in my mind, that is one of the main problems in the sustainable agriculture, that we need to find a system that every part of the value chain is appropriately incentivized to take these new types of trades to the market.
Having to get the farmers out of the red and into the black when it comes to cover crops.
Exactly, and that's what we achieved by bringing Cquesta to the market, by creating value. It is a cover crop growing between corn and soybean, covering the ground, but it's harvestable cover crop. In the end, it is producing grain that can be used for renewable biofuel and the animal meal, and that's how the value is created. That value is shared with everybody, and the most of that value goes to the farmer.
Yeah, it's a good model to learn from, and that's why you're here at NAPB this week.
Yes, thank you very much again, Mark.